Well, hi and welcome. It's Ken here from LiveLink Training. Now in this video I want to show you how to remove a background from a texture. Now sometimes the background in a texture can cause problems when you're trying to blend your texture into an image. Here you can see I've got a photograph I took of some textures on the side of a metal, I think it was a metal wheelie bin or something. Now I'll probably save this as a texture anyway because it may be fine, but if it's causing me problems then I need to just have the scratches on a layer, and that's what we're going to do. So let's dig in. Now the first thing I want to do is to equalize this texture. There's a bit of a bright spot at the top and there isn't at the bottom, so I'd like this to be a little bit more even. So what I'm going to do is equalize it, and I'm going to quickly just go through that. If you want more details on equalizing, then I have got a video on my blog on how to do this. But I'm just going to do this quickly. I'm going to create two copies of the layer. I'm going to turn the top layer off, select the middle layer, and then I'm going to run a filter on it. And I'm going to run a blur filter, which is the average filter. And then I'm going to switch the top layer back on, and I'm going to run another filter on this, which is filter other and high pass. About 200 pixels are fine, normally works. You may have to select something a little bit different for yourself depending on what image you're using, and then I'll click OK, and then I'll change the blend mode of this layer down to linear light. You can see now I've got a much more even toned texture, which will help me. And then what I'll do, I'll just use the flyout menu, merge visible, and I'm back to my texture that I'm going to start with now. Now sometimes there's odd colours. There may be a colour cast, there may be colours that are in. You can see I've got some browns here. Well, when I'm trying to blend things, that again may cause me some fringing and cause me some odd colours that I don't really want. So my first step, I'm going to desaturate. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Desaturate, or there's a keyboard shortcut of Shift, Control and U to do that. Click on that, and then all those odd colours have gone. Next I want to make this image a little bit more contrasty. So I'm going to do that with levels. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments and Levels, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control and L, or Command and L if you're on a Mac. And to increase the contrast I'm going to use the input levels, and here we've got three sliders. We've got the black slider, the mid-tone slider and the white slider, and to increase the contrast what I need to do is to pull both the white slider in and the black slider in. And that's making the image much more contrasty. And then I can basically just play about with the mid-tone slider till I get something that I think looks about right. And again, this is just going to be on any other image that you use. You'll just have to play about with this. I think that looks all right actually, and I'm going to click OK. So it's now quite contrasty. And what I need to do now is make a selection of the background, and I'm going to do this from channels. So I've just got my channels panel open here. Now there's not going to be any difference really between any of these because I've desaturated it, so there's no colour in it anyway. So I can just use my RGB channel if I like. And to select this I'm going to hold the Control key down, and you'll see my little hand, my little cursor there turns to a hand with a little square set of marching ants in it. And if I click on the thumbnail, not on the layer, I've got to click on the thumbnail, what you'll see is it will select all the background for me, and that's cool. Now I'm going to go back to my layers panel, and I want to put a new layer on, a new empty layer. Now I can do that different ways. I can go to Layer and New and Layer. There's a keyboard shortcut of Shift, Control and N, or my favourite if I'm working in the Layers panel anyway, is next to the trash can there's a put a new layer on icon there. So I'm going to click on that one and it puts me a new empty layer on. Now at the moment I've got basically the background selected. What I need is the actual scratches selecting. So my next step is I need to inverse this selection, and I can do that from the select menu down to inverse, or there's a keyboard shortcut for this of Shift, Control and I. If I click on that, that will do that for me. It'll inverse that selection. Next, I need to set my foreground colour. Well, for this exercise, I'll set it as black because I want the scratches to be black. I've done that. If it's the wrong way around, you can just press the D key to reset to default, and it'll reset the foreground and background colours to black and white. Right, I'm just about ready now, and what I need to do is to fill this selection with the colour black. And I can do that from my fill dialog, so I'm going to go to edit and fill, and again there's Shift and F5 as a keyboard shortcut. My contents, I need to make sure it says foreground colour, nothing else matters really, and then I'm going to click OK. And you should see now that I've now got something appeared in the thumbnail. I'll just turn off the visibility of the background layer, and then I'll deselect that selection with Control or Command and D. And now you can see the background has all gone, and I'm just left with a set of lovely scratches that I can use as a texture. Now I'll just get rid of that bottom layer, I don't need that. Now to keep and preserve this transparency, I need to save this as a PNG file, because JPEG files will not support transparency. So if I save this as a JPEG, it'll just fill all that background in with white again, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to go to File and Save As. I'm going to save it on my computer. I'll save it into there, but I'll save this as a PNG file. And I'll call it Scratches Texture. Well, I've not got that right, have I? Texture. Okay. And then I can save it. Okay, now my libraries panel's open. I'm going to try and get hold of this little black piece here. If I go in the middle, it won't do it because it's just transparency. So I need to click on something, and then I can drag that texture and drop it into my library. And that'll come up in a sec. There it is, layer 1. Now I can add this as a texture to another texture. So if I'm building up like a quite grungy texture like this, and I think, oh, this would benefit from a few scratches, then I can go into my library, or I can open the texture up that I've just saved and click and drag and drop my scratches in. And then I can hold the Shift key down and I can stretch it out. Whoops, Shift key down and stretch it out again. There we go. And then I can easily then blend it in. Go back to my layers panel. You can see I've got transparency. I can try dropping down the opacity so I can just get them scratches in the background, and I could try a couple of blend modes. The overlay and soft light are normally pretty good ones. Well, that's it for removing the background to a texture. I do hope you enjoyed it and you got something out of it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment under the video, and if you get a minute, please click that subscribe button and become part of my Photoshop learning community. Clicking that subscribe button really helps me to make most of the YouTube algorithm for how many people I'm going to be reaching with my videos. So if you could do that, I would be most grateful. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.